Morning. Good afternoon, everyone. When we talk about sustainable neighborhoods, first thing we have to deal with is we have to deal with the external factors and the internal factors of what makes their neighborhood unsustainable. So, in 2006, the city of Newark was dealing with something that they're dealing with right now, a problem with violence and crime. I didn't sit back. This is what I did in 2006. When Newark's homicide rate reached 107, 30% of those murders occurred in the community that I am born and raised in. Sustainable neighborhoods, this is how I did it. You have to organize the community, because without community organizing to first address that there is a problem and how do we collectively come together to resolve this issue, you have to organize the community. This is what it looked like. I wanted the children, the elders, the houses of worship to see that violence knows no name, no specific ethnicity. Together, collectively, this is what we must do to sustain a neighborhood. Everyone that you're looking at is a former student or a former graduate of the Newton Street School Elementary School that I once worked at, that was shot and killed within feet of the entrance of the elementary school, else inside of the same neighborhood that I was born and raised. So we have an issue with violence. So where do we go from here? After protesting collectively, I made a promise that I am proud to say that I have now made come true. This is how we did it, through a promise made through partnerships. You have to bring back parental engagement. We have to let our parents understand that, listen, collectively, we cannot help our children to exceed to the next level, to compete on the 21st century stage and platform if you are not at the same table as we are. Job fairs, expungement workshops, because if you have violence, you have issues with people who have records, and if people cannot get a job because of a record, then that brings down the community. Talking about sustainable neighborhoods. Organizing PTO basketball games collectively, coming together, showing individuals of what it looks like when we need to come together collectively to address this issue that we have in the problem, because it's our issue, clearly, I can assure you. And who better else to talk about crime and issue in our community, none other than Mr. Frank Lucas himself, whom Mr. Denzel Washington portrayed in American Gangster, the importance of staying away from drugs, and look what it can do for you. Bringing back the PTO cheerleading, bringing back school pride. You have to have pride of where you come from. This is what it looks like. Did the very first anti-bullying gang workshop inside of Newton Street School, way before our governor decided to make bullying an issue in the state of New Jersey. Sustainable neighborhoods. Boys and girls clubs, partnerships. You have to do this. In order to talk about turning around a community and making it sustainable, we have to bring back all of these things that were in place before the state of New Jersey, fickled down all the way to the local municipal level, was all affected and addressed with fiscal problems. First ever gang workshop held inside of Newark Public Schools. Inside of my community, we have 3 gang sets. They are blood. To you, you may call them gang members, but to me, they're my friends. And I understand the reason why they are out there doing what they do. So what's next for me? After being laid off from Newark Public Schools, I call it my early retirement, courtesy of the governor. But if my job meant education reform and sustaining my neighborhood, I will be the poster child for sustainable neighborhoods and turning around what needs to be done. A promise made, a promise kept. So, here I stand before you today, grassroots activist, community organizer, and effectively October 17th of 2012, I successfully incorporated my business, which is called ITV. It takes a village. Got that from the African proverb. It does take a village to raise a child. And it is a reentry program that will be launching here in the city of Newark in 2014. I am a product of experiencing what massive levels of incarceration and what it has done to my community, and I am still living through this, and I combated this issue in 2006, and in 2012, we just acknowledged that violence is a public health issue in the city of Newark, just passed by a municipal council. I've been combating this since 2006, and we are on pace to actually outperform what we've done in 2006. What is the common denominator? In 2006, 2013, 2 years, election years. So therefore, crime is going to elevate itself because we have persons that are focusing on building campaigns and have gotten away from their legal obligation, which is to the greater good of human community in terms of encouraging human flourishing. I'm combating this issue through sustainable living, urban farming. I've just graduated from the Rutgers Master Gardener program with my certificate in horticulture, showing my community there's ways to be sustainable, creating jobs literally right within our backyard, where we typically didn't have a sustainable income or source of income right within our backyards. We're talking about the same community that has an annual income of $13,000. So when you want to talk about sustainable neighborhoods, these are the things that are impacting the community. So in order for you to move forward, you have to address the concern. You have to address the element that's right within this community. And like I said, being a product of this community, I understand that the level of massive incarceration just is not unique to Newark. It's happening all across the United States of America. And everyone sitting in this room, I know for a fact, last year, if you live in the state of New Jersey, collectively, we spent over $56,000 just incarcerating someone. 3 hots and a cot. What have all of us gotten in return? Let's be more specific. What have I gotten as a Newark resident? 10 days of homicides. 4 people shot and killed in one day. We cannot continue down this detrimental path. This is what I do. In my community, I grow it and I give it to my community because I want them to not just combat childhood obesity, but adult obesity as well. We must collectively start to better take care of our bodies. And since I've been doing this, I've actually lost 10 pounds myself. Sustainable neighborhoods, this is what it looks like, people. Transform the vacant lot through partnerships. I could not have done this alone. It was the partnerships of King University's Be the Change project. In addition to the current Central Ward Councilman, Mr. Darren Sharif, collectively we came together to transform a vacant city lot that has always been overthrown for 34 years. Local sheetrock from a local wing project, broken down cars that have been stripped for parts because of cash, and also tires. You name it, it's been on this lot overgrown for 34 years, literally within feet of my childhood home, and this is the way that it looks now. And I'm proud to say we've just celebrated the birthday of this garden that turned 1 year old this last month on October 13th of 2012. This is the way it looks. So, when you talk about sustainable neighborhoods, this is what it looks like. You have to have people that are on the ground, that are grassroots, and I've been doing this all of my life. And I recently had to come out of the shadows, because I pride myself on being real grassroots, which means I'm not for sale and I can't be bought. I do this because it has to be done, and I promise everyone in this room that I'm not looking for any accolades. I always say this, I will get my accolades later when I take my last breath. So thank you for listening to my talk. Look out for ITV, It Takes a Village Incorporated, because we will be making an impact in the city of Newark, building one neighborhood sustainable, one neighborhood at a time. Thank you.